The week before my college graduation, I dyed my hair purple. Well, the color was called eggplant. I was set to receive my diploma in physics from the University of California, Berkeley, and after years of dedicating myself to my studies, eggplant hair at graduation seemed like a good way to rebel. I also rebelled by not applying to graduate schools. I didn't want to continue to a PhD program in physics because my dream was to be a musician. Composing, recording, and performing were favorite activities of mine, which I gained expertise in throughout high school and college. But rather than doing either activity, going to graduate school, or actively creating the life of a professional musician, I slipped into a sort of default path. I was hired as a graduate student instructor on campus, and had a low enough rent to stay in Berkeley for another couple years skating by. I hoped that my natural talents would lift me up into a version of life I'd fantasized about, but instead, I found myself languishing. Rather than earning an advanced degree or becoming a professional artist, or something else productive, this time after college became a time of struggle. I couldn't choose. I rebelled against the industry of physics, which I was afraid would strip away my creativity and preclude my ability to be the musician I was at heart. But I also rebelled against the music industry, unable to humble myself and create an identity that others could understand. My struggle to find a place felt like somebody else's fault. But what I was unable to see at the time was how fear was guiding my choices. I felt that I was acting out of principle, but I couldn't see that my emotions were really pulling the strings. I wanted to gain traction, but was scared to be seen. I wanted to make a difference, but was afraid to be criticized. My inability to fit in was not simply a fierce commitment to independence and self-expression. It was a lonely retreat into isolation. A few years later, as Bill Clinton was being impeached, and everyone was starting to worry whether the world would end as the millennium flipped onto Y2K, I had achieved no progress as a professional musician. I desperately wanted to break out of my self-imposed shell. I felt I had to prove myself by pushing the boundaries so far that somebody would notice. Instead of having purple hair, I shaved my head. I bought a van and fitted it with cabinetry and bedding so that I could have a home on the road. Then I packed up my instruments and set out for Los Angeles. The next 6 months were to be the most challenging of my life. I didn't have any specific plans in Los Angeles. I sought out open mics to play music at. I scoured lists of agents and record labels and delivered press kits to their front desks. I gave a few performances and through lucky coincidences made some useful contacts. But within a couple months I was tired of hustling in my van. Dana, my best friend from high school, with whom I had shared a romantic, synchronistic rendezvous at the Louvre Museum in Paris some years earlier, was also living in the Los Angeles area, and we'd been talking together frequently. Our romance was reignited, and I soon moved in with her. This was not the end of the struggle, though. My self-created difficulties were just the beginning. Underneath my striving for success was an attempt at control. I felt lost in the world. My efforts to make a difference had failed over and over. I could see problems out there in the world that I wanted to help fix. I believed that by doing inner activism and becoming more self-aware, we could address environmental justice and social justice. Yet I kept tripping over my own problems, not making an impact anywhere. I wasn't in a place where I could help anybody else. What were the patterns of behavior I was tripping over? At the time, I couldn't quite say. I focused my attention inward to try to overcome my own demons. I worked at it. I studied spiritual texts. I meditated. I fasted. I had faith that personal discipline would help me overcome my obstacles. It was hard to see at the time that I was stuck inside a set of filters in my own mind. I thought I wanted to be recognized for my talents, but maybe I was afraid to fail. I wanted to take a stand, but maybe I was afraid that people wouldn't like me. I was set on making a difference, but maybe I would have been satisfied with feeling included.